So much stuff I want to ask you.
Why?
Because you're one of the more interesting stories out there, man.
I'm just
But
having
but
a good time.
but let's talk about the football first.
Yeah.
When did you know that you were good at football?
Um, I don't know. I guess it was maybe like my junior or senior year of high school when my cousin went to college in Louisiana at Grambling. And so he was calling home, asking my mom, who is the guy at Martin Luther King High School with the white helmet? I keep hearing about this dude. And so my mom was like, that's Anthony. So like he heard about me all the way out in Louisiana. And you know, when I grew up, there was no Instagram or no YouTube or nothing like that. So for him to hear that I was doing good all the way in Louisiana and I was in Michigan, I was like, dang, I must be doing something right. But I didn't even know, like, I was just extremely coachable. So whatever the coaches were telling me to do, like I would do it like to the best of my ability. Like I would play through the whistle, through the echo of the whistle, not the actual whistle itself. So I would be going hard. And you know, before long, I ended up getting a scholarship to go to Penn State. But then at Penn State, that's when I knew I was really good because my whole thing was I didn't want to go to college to make it to the NFL. Like that just wasn't a dream of mine. It was just like I want to actually go to college because I don't see a lot of my family going to college. And when I get to Penn State playing this football, I want to start and I want to compete. Then it got to a point where my junior year, I started seeing the people that I had good games against get drafted. So I was like, man, they drafting this guy? I know they seen the Penn State game. I know they seen that. So then I kind of figured I had a shot and I started taking it more serious.
What would you have done if it wasn't football? Like what were you thinking was going to be your career track going into Penn State?
My main goal was to own some type of business somehow. And I didn't know what that was going to look like or anything. So, but my major was business management and international business. And I really wanted to study abroad in Japan because I just dig the Japanese culture. But I had, so at my school, Martin Luther King High School in Detroit, we had a math, science, and applied technology program called an MSAT. And, you know, you got to take a language. And so everybody was taking like Spanish or Latin. And I just wanted something a little bit more challenging. So I wanted to take up Japanese for my language. And through learning Japanese or Nihongo, I ended up like learning about some of their cultures and stuff like that. And I really started digging it. And so when I got to college, after taking, I took like 3 or 4 years of 4 years of Japanese at high school. And so once getting to Penn State, I wanted to do business management and international business. So I can study abroad in Japan. I think it's dope.
Can you still speak Japanese?
A little bit. I probably could hold a conversation with like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or something like that, man. But I'm so rusty, man. I just know like basic stuff. Like I could introduce myself. Like if I walked up to somebody and I was, you know, just touched down in Japan, I would say, Boku no name wa Anthony des. Hajime Mashite dojo Roshiku.
Wow.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Anthony. Nice to meet you.
So I think that maybe later on, once things get back to normal, I think you and Yu Darvish should get together.
Well, let's do it. I ain't scared.
You and Yu Darvish, because he's learned English and he's also become like a thing on Twitter. Like his Twitter account is pretty banging. Like you two guys could have a lot of fun. You go to the Cubs game and talk with Japanese with Yu Darvish.
How about that, man?
That would be dope. So when you got to the NFL, walk me through draft night, your second round pick. Like what was draft night like?
Oh man. Okay. So I was projected to go like 4th round. And but I had a pretty good combine and everything like that. But you know, with all that said, I was the 10th rated defensive tackle in the 2003 draft. And 9 defensive tackles went off the board fast in the first round. It was kind of just like a record. Like you can hear Chris Berman, another defensive tackle. Like this is unheard of. And so within like the first 17, 18 picks, it was like a bunch of defensive tackles. So I'm counting now. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it got to 9. I think the last pick of a defensive tackle was Jonathan Sullivan, I think, who went to New Orleans. I don't know. I can't remember. But I knew whoever it was number 9. So I'm like, if a team needs a defensive tackle, it's a chance that I might go first round. So I'm just like, oh. So I'm doing like all of the math and all the scenarios in my head. So I remember at the Combine or the Senior Bowl, whenever it was, I had a meeting with the Raiders. And the Raiders said, we love your work ethic. We love your motor. They said, we will draft you in a heartbeat. I'm like, what? Wow, like that's great news. Like inside, like that's what I'm thinking. Outside, I'm like, oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's a good compliment coming from you. A storied organization. You know what I'm saying? You got to give the old that talk right there. But the inside, I'm like, oh, word, y'all draft me right now. Like, let's do it. So I'm at Penn State at my defensive lineman coach's house, sitting on the couch. And, the first round is going by, and I'm just like, man, there might be a chance that I'll get drafted in the first round. Like, this is crazy. So they get down to the Raiders. They got the last 2 picks of the draft. So I'm like, I think they had just traded Dana Stubblefield or something like that. I don't know. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It was the Niners who traded Dana Stubblefield from San Francisco. That's why they got me. But, yeah, so they said the Raiders had the last 2 picks of the draft. They drafted Nnamdi Asomugha, who's a great player, and then Tyler Brayton, who was also a good player. He played with Carolina Panthers too. So I'm just sitting there like, dang. Like, so after hearing that news, like, I don't know where I'm gonna go because I hadn't had a talk with anybody like how I did with the Raiders, where the Raiders was like, we will draft you right now. You know, I kind of bum rushed my way into a lot of different meetings that I wasn't even supposed to be in, like just to talk, just to say, hey, what's up? My name is Spice, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, they didn't draft me. So now it's like I got no clue as to where I'm going. And mind you, I am there with, the flip phone that you have.
Yes.
I'm in Pennsylvania. This was like the first one where you could add a camera onto it. So you gotta put all this stuff, like all of these wires in here, and you can like put a camera onto it or whatever. Like that's how old it was. So I'm there in Pennsylvania in all of the mountains. So I'm not getting good reception out there. And I get drafted during a commercial break. So I don't get a chance to hear Chris Berman say, Anthony Adams, Penn State, pick number 57 or whatever. And this whole time, mind you, I have been getting prank calls from my boys who have been calling me saying, hey, this is so-and-so from Seattle Seahawks. We got a pick coming up. Like, so I have been hearing that all day. So I'm constantly hanging the phone up on all my friends playing practical jokes on me. So I finally get the call from the 49ers, and it's Terry Donahue, the general manager. He said, hey, we're going to pick you with the 57th pick. Like, you ready? And I'm on the phone like, yeah, all right, Daryl, get out of here.
No.
Yeah. Hang the phone up on the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
So he calls me back like, yo, I'm not joking. Yeah, we're going to draft you to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm just like, wow. So I'm up at Penn State. I was up there training. So I got on a track suit and like some gym shoes or whatever. I don't even know what I don't even know what my outfit was. And so upon learning that, I go to the mall. I get all the San Francisco 49ers hats. They gag like, give me all of them. Give me all 7 of them. And then we go to get a suit because I got to fly out the next day and we're doing a press conference. So I get like some Dockers. and I just buy those.
You got Dockers?
Yeah, just like some regular. I don't even know like where you could buy these type of shoes from. Like just standard dress shoes. I don't know. They were super standard, man. And I probably had on some tube socks, but I couldn't get a jacket that fit me. So then I ended up borrowing one from my defensive line coach. So if anybody out there has the picture of the press conference of when I got drafted, they're probably the worst suit combination you ever want to see in your life. It was so bad, Lawrence. So bad.
What made it so bad? Just because
it was just pieced together. Like I could only get the Docker khakis and the Dr. Martin shoes or whatever they was. I don't know. And then I just borrowed my defensive lineman's coat jacket. It was probably from a suit. Like it wasn't like it was a blazer or nothing like that. It was just like something random, like in the back of his closet. So if anybody has that picture, it is unreal how terrible I look.
So you make it to the 49ers. How surreal a moment was that for you where if we turn the clock back just 4 years, you're thinking, I'm going to college to study business.
Yeah.
And now you're in the NFL.
Crazy. I'm talking to Bryant Young. Jeff Garcia is like, hey, how you doing, Anthony? And I'm like, there's always another Anthony on the team. Like, so I'm just like, oh, me? I'm doing good, man. How you? Like, Terrell Owens is playing dominoes with me. You know, we talking trash. Like I'm talking trash with Terrell Owens. Like it was crazy. It was crazy, man. You know, Joe Montana might walk through there. Roger Craig might walk through there. Like you never know. Ronnie Lott. It's just like, what? I seen Walsh. Walsh was, walking around, man. I'm like, this is unreal, man. It was crazy. I loved every moment. I wish it was like now. I could have took some pictures, put it on the gram.
But there's no one like that from back in the day over because they still love you in San Francisco. There's no one back in the day that has like photos or old clips that you could have that you could put up and be like, look, here's me and Bill Walsh.
That's a long time ago, man. 2003. It's so different now, man. Maybe somebody, but it's like, you talk to the newspapers there, to dig back in those archives, man, that's a long time. So I don't know if it's out there, it's hilarious.
What was your favorite moment as a 49er?
My favorite moment, man, we lost a lot. So I can't even, it's not like with the Bears, it's like, oh yeah, I remember 2010 where we were in the playoffs. We didn't have a shot. We went 7-9, 2-14, 4-12, and then 7-9 again. So it's slim pickings for me, man. But I remember I got my first sack. It was just kind of like a hustle play. It was Gus Frerotte from the Minnesota Vikings. And I remember that because it was like right by the end zone. I almost got a safety. So I think it was probably like week 6 or week 8 or something like that. But I remember getting that first sack. And I think we lost that game. Yeah, I don't even need to think about it. We lost that game because I remember vividly because all I kept hearing was the cannons going off whenever Randy Moss scored. Boom, boom. It was like every time you do a little move or something like that, run toward it, boom. I was like, gosh, boom. I remember that.
So how hyped were you considering that you joined the Bears a month and a half after they've played in a Super Bowl? Like, what was that? Like, how did you feel about coming to a team that realistically had a chance to go back and maybe win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought we were going back. I was like, if you think about the nucleus of the team, it's basically all there. You know, so it wasn't that many changes. And so I was like, yeah, we going back. And I think we went 7-9 that year.
Yep.
7-9. But you could tell that the pieces were all there. It's just, you know, a few tweaks that you needed. And I think we'd have made some noise, man. We just had a few little kinks, man. Dang. But I tell you what, man, it was great to spot, dude, because it was like everybody on the team was like a big kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, that's my alley. Like, that's me. Like, I do. So I don't know. Just the connection's unstable. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit, but you're still there.
Okay.
Are you saying that like everyone was like a big little kid in that locker room?
Yeah, which was that was my language right there, man. I speak that language right there. So everybody was a big kid, but everybody still took care of business. So that's what I learned about it. It was like, you know, we laugh and we joke around, but when it comes time to football, when that whistle blows, it's time to go to work. So, you know, it was cool to finally be on a team that kind of had an identity. We really didn't have an identity with the Niners at the time.
What was it like to play with Urlacher?
He was cool, man. It was like you think about all these different superstars and you meet them out on the field and, you know, they're kind of standoffish or whatever. But Urlacher was different, man. He was just like, you know, real down to earth, real approachable. You talk to him about anything, man. He was cool. He was just like one of the fellas. You know, he treated everybody the same. He was cool. I mean, and he had every right to be like, you know, hey, look, Robbie Gould, I'm not gonna show up at your foundation dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a million other things I got to do, but he would show up and take pictures and sign autographs, and it could have been anybody, not just because it was Robbie Gould, or, you know, could have been anybody. But that's why our fools were like, man, cool dude.
What's your favorite, like, because everyone that I know that played with Brian, I mean, I have it too as someone who covered those teams. What's your favorite on the field moment where you saw Brian do something and you were like, holy shit, like people aren't supposed to be able to do that?
Yeah. I don't know. It was a couple of them, man. But you talking to somebody who, I don't remember what I ate yesterday. So like put me on the spot like that. Like, I don't.
All right. I mean, think about it. And if you come back with something, that's fine.
I'm the run stopper. I'm in the first and second down. Third down is when all that magic happened. I'll be there the first, second down, like, man, get out there and stop the run. Third down, they'd be like, all right, now it's money time. That's when sideline, like, hey, go guys.
Let's take Spice off the field and get a pass rusher in there.
I remember one time, whenever we get mic'd up, Urlacher never wants to know. He never wants to know if he's the one that's mic'd up, and he always asks. He's like, who's mic'd up? Who's mic'd up? And this one particular time, he had came in a huddle, and I think the Bears had played it one year, something like that. He came in the huddle, and he was about to call a play, and then he was like, woo. He was like, who is that? Who is that? Like, somebody farted. And I never said anything. But it was me.
We got an exclusive. Let's go.
It was me. It was me. I usually don't eat eggs in the morning. But this particular day, it was a night game. And I usually don't eat anything before the game. But since this game was at night, I had some eggs.
And see, and now people know, like, this is the type of stuff that I was hoping would happen on my podcast when I invited you on.
Yeah, you get some exclusives, man.
Oh man. All right. Look, I know there's a lot of cool stuff like in the football aspect of your career, but I'd love to know the moment you decide, I think I'm done playing, or the league is like, I think Anthony's done playing.
Yeah, the league made that decision. Like, you know what? We think you're done. It's like, oh, okay, I hear you loud and clear. You know, when you played in the league for a while and you start peeping game, man, you understand what's going on. Like the writing be on the wall. Like I kind of knew after signing with Chicago for the third time that this was probably the last one. Because when we were negotiating during the lockout, and I was getting 0% calls. 0. I mean, it was a couple of teams like expressing interest, like, what about this guy? You know, whatever. But it was nothing serious at all. Nothing. And so I would be talking to the Bears, straight lying. Like, man, we're talking to Minnesota right now. Hold on. I'm talking to him right now. Wait a second. So-and-so. I'll make up somebody's name that worked for the Vikings or something like that. Like I was talking to absolutely nobody, dude. So I was like, man, this must be it. So, you know, I did straight the next contract year, but I had messed my pec up. Not my pec, my calf. And I did that like the Thursday when I came back. I think I signed on Wednesday. And then Thursday, came back the first practice. I popped my calf. I felt it pop, like bang. I was like, man, because I had been training like that whole time, whatever. So I popped my calf, and then I was out like the whole preseason, 4 games. And so I rushed to come back to play the first game against the Atlanta Falcons. And you know, that's when I knew, like, it was like, man, it's about to be different. Like, they're about to start treating me different. And but I tried to hurry up and come back, and it just wasn't a good idea. And I probably wasn't right till like week 6 or week 7. You know, because I mean, you use your calf every step. You know what I'm saying? And you playing 60 plays sometimes in a game, like it's not gonna hold up. But I kind of knew I got the writing on the wall. But you know, like every year it's like in your head, you're like, nobody can run a screen on me. Like, because I'm too smart. You won't be able to get me. Nobody could do it. And then so you start taking pride, like when you start seeing the screen and stuff like that. You recognize it, and then there's no wasted movements. If I'm rushing and I see that it's a screen, I'm stopping everything I'm doing, and I'm flat down the line of scrimmage down there. And then sometimes when you get to like year 4, it's not there. Like that burst that you had, it's not there. And you kind of can understand that, dang, man. Like once you start saying, I usually, yeah, that's what you know. I usually, that's when you know.
Did you struggle after like it being decided that you weren't going to go back and play anymore? Like what were those moments like when you were trying to figure out what you were going to do next?
I had no idea. I had no plan for that. And because I just didn't think that they would release me the way that they did. I thought I would at least get like a year to kind of find that out. Because I still had 1 year left on my deal. So for them to release me, it came as a shock, because it was kind of like, you know, I'm like one of the older guys, and like I'm one of those guys that like I'm a system guy. Like I can play the 4-3 like nobody business. Like I play my job, like nose guard, like that's what I do. Like I bring my lunch pail. So I thought that I was kind of in there with Lovey and Rod Marinelli, and so for me hearing the news of when I got released, I was just like, man, like I had no plans, none. And then I thought that from all the relationships that I made throughout the years, that one of the coaches might have vouched for me and said, oh, they released Anthony Adams? Oh, we got to get him on the team. So, like, all those coaches, I would be calling, like, hey, man, you think you got a spot for me or something like that? And, once they hit you with that, you already know that they don't. So, but I still thought, you know, I could give a team, you know, 1 or 2 more years or something like that and kind of prove myself. But the league thought otherwise. And so you start, it's like stages. So like you don't make it there preseason, like that's fine because nobody really want to go to camp anyway. So you go to week 1 and it's like a wave of free agents that usually go week 1. And once you don't make that first wave, then you got to wait, and like, which is crazy. You got to wait for somebody to get hurt in order for you to make it onto somebody's squad. So, I mean, you don't want to be wishing and praying that somebody gets hurt on like all these different teams, but it's the nature of the beast, man. And then they have like all these different type of roster cuts or whatever that comes up, and they're like, hey, after this date, then we're going to sign you. So you get all the way out to October and you're spending all of this money working out, and you just like, you see all this money going out and nothing's coming back in, and you're just like, man, I got to make a decision, man. It's getting close to November. And then even then, you wait till like November, December. Then some of these teams are like, hey, man, wait till the playoffs. Like, so instead of, you know, putting my family through all of that, and say somebody from Seattle gets hurt and he twists his ankle or something like that, hey, we're going to sign you. And you're out there for, you know, 3 weeks until this defensive lineman gets back healthy, and then they release you.
Right.
After you done uprooted your family and say, okay, I think this is a good spot for me. We're going to be out here in Seattle or wherever the case may be. And then they give you the news like, oh, well, you know, so-and-so's back healthy, so we don't need you anymore. So instead of putting my family through that, I was just like, I'm done.
Is it weird to you that you're more popular now than 10 years in the, like, it's strange to me to tell you the God's honest truth. It's weird. Like, to be like, this guy played in the league for a decade. Yeah. And it wasn't until a few years after that a whole nother group of people were like, man, that dude is funny as hell. It's strange.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's I never really expected people to know who I was anyways. I mean, me playing nose guard, like, you got to be a real diehard fan to know who I was. You know, like, that must mean like I'm really doing my job if you know who I am. Like, because nose guards, all we do is take on the double team, and, you know, we let the linebackers go and make the plays, or, you know, the quicker guys. So, but what is crazy is the fact that people just don't know that I played professional football.
Yes.
It's just, that's so funny, because it's like, I will put up a picture of me in the San Francisco 49ers uniform, like, you know, just like an action shot of me getting ready to make a tackle or something like that. And folks be like, man, this dude, he getting out cold with the Photoshop. Like, he is nice with it. And it's like, no, dude, like, this actually happened, bro. Like, this is not a Photoshop. You know what I'm saying? So, like, people have no idea that I played, which is, it's like a testament of my work, of like what I do right now, you know, because everybody just always thought that, you know, I do videos, or like I make videos or something like that. Like, you the funny guy off of Facebook and Instagram. And nobody's like, you know, you the dude who used to play for the 49ers. Like, nobody knows that, man. And it's wild, but it's cool, because it's letting me know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as entertaining.
Well, look, I mean, I had that experience at this past Super Bowl. Like, I was sitting there with the NBC Bay Area people.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with Jeff Garcia, and I was like, I know. And I was like, Jeff, you play with my boy, Spice Adams. And he's like, Spice.
Well, they used to call me Double A.
And I said, so I did the whole thing. I was like, Anthony, like double A. And he's like, oh yeah, I love double A. and I go, I was like, you know that he's like one of the most famous people on Twitter and Instagram now. And he's like, what are you talking about? I showed him your profile, and you should have seen his face. He was like, he has that many followers? I was like, yeah, he's like a movement, man. Like, it's a whole thing. It was really, really weird.
Jeff is real cool, man.
How did you learn to do all of this stuff? Because your technical proficiency is through the roof with your videos.
You know what? I'm a huge copycat. You know what I'm saying? I think we all are. So like we all get inspired by something. And so a lot of different videos that I see, I say, that was funny, but I think you could reach like a whole different audience if you say NFL stuff that free agents might say. You know what I'm saying? Or like I just put like my own spin on it where it's like, you know what, I got an uncle who sounds just like that. Like if I could like just create something where, because everybody can relate to that one uncle that you have where somebody says, is this person a part of your family? And you're just like, yeah, that's my Uncle Vernus, man. That's him. Everybody got that uncle, man. So I think that, you know, seeing like all these different videos and everything and, you know, people like making a career out of them, I was just like, man, maybe I should get out a shot because I love to entertain. You know, I love people like around me, just like having a good time. Like anybody who was ever in a locker room with me will tell you that. Like I never like to see somebody down or nothing. Like I'll do whatever it takes to kind of, you know, get you to smile or get you to dance or something like that, man. Because it's like, it feels good being around a bunch of people that just want to have fun.
So what was the video that you think popped you, like made this part of your career?
It was the retirement video for sure. Like, cause it got everywhere. I mean, I was trying to check my mail on Yahoo and it was like on the front page right there. So wow. I was like, man, I mean, just like something simple like that, where like I don't even know this. And I'm just like, man, let me check my email, and it's like, what? Like that's crazy. Where they even get that picture from? First of all, but it's just like it's crazy, man. And then Yahoo puts on there, it's like the greatest free agent of all time on there, or whatever. Like it was madness. But that was the video that kind of like made people start paying attention to me.
It's cool to see both on the creative side, you doing what you're doing, but also on the business side. I feel like I'm seeing you move in spaces that former football players don't necessarily move in. Does that go back to the business training that you got in high school and in college, or is that all stuff that you learned as an adult?
I think it's just my upbringing, man. You know, my mom, you know, seeing her work or whatever, and, you know, being from Detroit, like you just a blue collar worker, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't stop, like whatever your profession is. Like if I wanted to be a custodian or if I wanted to be a teacher or whatever, like what I'm doing now, entertainer, it's just like, I'm going to work hard at it. And, you know, I'm going to spend some time with it to really see if this is what I want to do. Like I edit a lot of my videos. So, you know, I would go to, Final Cut Pro and try to find out like how to mask different things or use different stuff with keying or do different transitions with jump cuts and dissolving and like all of this other type of stuff. But, you know, I'm willing to work hard at it. And I think that's when like something just like a light bulb went off and it was just like, you know, I think all of the energy and the effort that I put into football, I can now put into entertaining people through forms of video.
Is it still fun for you?
I have a great time. Like I think people said, somebody said once, if you get up early, if you love something enough, you'll get up early for it. And I remember waking up 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to train for football because I love to do it. And I remember now getting up sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to shoot a video because I love doing it. So, yeah, man, I love shooting videos, dude. And then you can't beat somebody coming up to you in Alabama, or if I'm in London and somebody from Kuwait comes up to me and says, you're the dude. You're the dude. You're Spice Adams, right? Do the laugh. The laugh is hilarious. Or I walk 5 feet from that person and somebody from Ghana is like, Spice Adams. So, I mean, like, you can't beat that. Like, I'm in overseas somewhere and people from all over the world are coming up to me saying, I love your videos. So that right there is just, it puts that extra oomph in, me, doing what I do.
What was the All-Star game like?
Oh, man. What? It was dope. Did I see you?
I was around, but I was there, but I was in and out kind of doing a couple different things. Like I went to the celeb game and then I was at the All-Star festivities on Saturday night. Okay. I was trying to get to you, but I was a little bit of everything that day.
It was so much going on, man. It was like a baby, just like being overstimulated with everything. Like it was so much, like every day, like Wednesday through Sunday, I was doing something every day. Every day I was doing something. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I did something with Mountain Dew, with State Farm, with DraftKings, with the Players Tribune, with goodness gracious. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. I did stuff with the Bears, of course, but I was doing stuff on the radio. I did stuff with Mike Golick. It was wild and it was bananas, man. And the thing is, I got a chance to take my kids to see all of that stuff too. Mm-hmm. So, and the Celebrity All-Star game was. All right, look, let me tell you this. You get another exclusive.
Okay.
Let me tell you. So I go to the locker room because we got to practice the day before the Celebrity All-Star game, and I see Lil Rel from Chicago. Shout out to Lil Rel. So, and I met Lil Rel like a while back, like before Get Out and like all the success that he's had. I met him before, like way before, when he was just doing stuff at the Laugh Factory. So he just finished doing a set for Jerry Azuma, had like some comedy night or something like that. And Lil Rel had hosted it. So I met him, whatever, boom, boom, boom. It was cool, blah, blah, blah. So in the locker room, we got to try out our jerseys to see which one, see the fit, Of course, I had like a 2X now, you know what I'm saying? I'm
getting slimmed down now.
But yeah, I went in there trying my jersey on and everything. I see Lil Rel come in. I'm like, Rel, hey, what's up, man? Like that. And Rel just kind of give me one of those. Like, well, people hearing this, he just kind of like shrugged me off. And so I'm like,
what you do to Rel? Well, you like, what did I offend him? Like,
look, and I totally just messed this up. I did something with Whistle Sports as well, who I didn't mention, but Whistle Sports was there getting like behind the scenes stuff. So it was a camera there. So I was like, maybe it was the camera. You know what I'm saying? Like he probably didn't want to be on camera. Like he didn't sign up for this. He just going to the locker room just to get a jersey. Of course, there's not a camera in there. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why he shrugged his shoulder off at me. So I pay it no mind, but I'm still kind of thinking about it. I go try my jersey on. Everything fit well. I talk to everybody that's in there. Yeah, it's cool, blah, blah, blah. So I'm still thinking about it. So I'm like, Rel, you're not just about to play me, man. Like, what's up, man? What's going on? So he said, hey, look, you can't do the character. When we playing this basketball game, I'm trying to win. So you can't do the character. So whoa. I'm like, I bust out laughing, right? I'm like, what? That's why you was giving me the cold shoulder, dog? because Kareem Bigham's gonna come down there and jack up some threes. I say, oh man. So man, we start laughing about that, man. We had a good time, man. We started talking for like 15 minutes, like we've known each other for years, man. It was crazy, man. But just that whole experience was cool. But I thought that was funny because he was just like, he was so serious about that game, dude. So serious. I know he wanted the drop kick coming. Like, no, I should have won that.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I was thinking while I was watching it, because, you know, the funny highlight is you and Q in common. Yeah. Where like, and I kept thinking to myself, a lot of these people have no idea the level of athlete that Anthony actually is. And it just made me laugh because I'm sitting there going, I've played basketball with football players. It's not fun at all. Because y'all be dipping shoulders into folks, and then folks go flying. And I just go, if they had any, like that's where like it started to click on to me. It's like there's so many people who don't realize Anthony played football. Yeah. So many.
Yeah. It don't matter out there on that court though, boy. Woo, especially you ain't played in a while. Damn. I got some buckets though, man. I had like 4.
Yeah, you was doing your thing. Was there anyone that you saw, like at this point in this portion of your career, is there anyone that makes you starstruck? Where you were like, oh, I'm on the floor with such and such?
You know what? I thought it was cool that they brought Horace Grant out there. Horace Grant, dog. I'm like, yo, we start kicking. I'm like, man, where'd you get those goggles from? I need some of them goggles, baby. And matter of fact, Horace, hear this, man. I still ain't got him. Man, I would not let him leave the court till he gave me his plug.
Really?
Or something. I said, man, I got to have those, man. Like, them joints is fire.
I mean, for Cream, that would be.
That's what I'm saying.
It would be top notch.
That's what I'm saying. And then, you know, I really wanted to ask him. I should have asked him. I was like, you know, I wanted to be like, hey, man, did Harvey ever, you know, get out there for you? You know what I'm saying?
Did he get a chance to play in the playoffs for you?
Hey, that's what I want to know. Is that ring all yours?
or does Harvey have one of the first 3?
I really wanted to ask him that, but I ain't have a lot of time.
I feel you on that. Speaking of time, you've been overly generous with your time. I thank you, man. I have no right to say this because
yes, you do.
I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
I'm so proud of what you've become, what you're becoming, like all of it. Other players, man, they need to look at what you're doing and they need to go, there's no limits. Like there's no limits on what I can be. And you're the perfect like avatar for that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. It's kind words coming from one of the GOATs, man. You one of the GOATs too. You started this when you were 16.
Yeah, I started when I was 16, man.
Man, you just started driving a car.
Yeah, well, I was actually a little bit before I started driving a car. I mean,
but you know,
but things are open. Legally, yes. There's all sorts of stuff that happened on the South Side when I was younger. All sorts of stuff.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's when someone interviews me. Then they can get all of those stories about all sorts of everything. But
hey, man, shout out to Power Dots.
Oh, dude. Okay, so
shout out to Power Dots, dog.
Let's talk about Power Dot for just a hot second. It's changed my life.
For real?
Like real talk, man. Because I heard you talking about it, and I was like, is it really that great? And then I went out and I humped it for 4 miles. Like I had one of my crazy like 4-mile runs around the neighborhood on concrete. You know, like so your legs are barking, your knees are barking.
It all, yes.
And I was like, okay, Anthony hooked me up with this. I'm gonna see what it does.
Yeah.
So I put it on my shin, my left shin, my right hamstring, and my lower back. Mm-hmm. Dude. 20 minutes. That's all I needed. I was like, oh, I can adjust it. Like the next day, and ordinarily I'm walking like Cro-Magnon man. Yeah. Like the next day. I'm usually broken after a run like that. Yeah. I woke up the next morning. I was like, I feel great right now.
Not on the Power Dot, man.
Yeah, Power Dot is that I said it on the air. I was talking about it on the air with Dion Miller from Channel 7 because she's a big runner.
Yeah.
And people were like, wait, what are you talking about? Like what? And so, like people are on it now. Like they're trying to get down with Power Dot.
It's dope, man. It's dope. I love him.
Dude,
Dang.
appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
No problem.
I will see you soon. All right.
Yes,
well,
sir.
hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I was just about to say that.
But either way, like this was good. This was good. Like see you like this was good.
Nice on right now.
Dude, you know what? That inspired me last night. Like I've actually now like got some ideas about that because I think I'm gonna be doing the radio show from home. So I think I'm gonna invite people in.
He is killing it, man.
He's killing it. Illa is killing it. Like all these DJs that are giving us this life.
Shout out to Illa.
is pretty great. So go wrangle your family because I know that they're looking for you. And I appreciate you, man.
No problem, man. Appreciate you too.
All right, man. Later. We good.